Alright, friends, here we go with our next lesson of the music of Greece. We're going to talk about some of the melodic aspects. We're going to look into some scales, and we've learned one. We've learned our major scale, and just as a quick review, let's see what that looks like. So here's our major scale. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes, and then the eighth note being the same as the first. We learned the steps to making our major scale. So we got, listen to it really quick. Here we go. And we've used this scale to play and learn every song we've got so far. So every song we've learned to play, we use the major scale. Let me phrase it that way. That way makes more sense. Our major scale is made from a whole step, half, whole, and half. What we're going to learn today is these scales up and down here. We're going to see how our sharps and flats change the scale, which would change the type of music we can make. And we've learned we can make a lot of music with just this one scale, but with some sharps and some flats, we're going to see what all we can do. Kosta's going to introduce us to some scales found in Greek music.
Tendencies found in Greek music. I remember you were teaching me a little bit about the modes, and there's that in Western music, but it's a little different, right?
Sure. So all around the world, you find different systems for scales. Different, yeah, I would say different systems for scales. In, for instance, in India, they use scales that are called ragas, and they sound, very different than what we're used to. They sound amazing, but they've got little tiny differences in the scales that you
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily think about. Like the major scale, it'll have some little variations. And in Greek music, what we use a lot is what we call dromi, which comes from the word dromo, like spelled Dromo,
Okay.
which means a road or a pathway.
Huh.
So we call the scales roads.
That's cool.
And from one scale, you find a road and a pathway to another one, and then back. And you can go at will, up and down, back and forth, and you can take the music where you want to take it when you know the road. It's kind of like a built-in GPS system for the music.
That's awesome.
So, for instance, we have our major scale, let's say like C major. We'll go up one way, but we can come down the other way, and we change one note.
So is that like a Mixolydian?
Exactly. And we
Alright, let's check out what he did there. So he went up a major scale, which we just looked at. Our major scale going up one more time. But he went down this scale. All he did was he changed the second to last note, so the seventh note in the scale, he made it flat. And it had a whole different tonality than the first one. Let's go back, because he's got some other crazy scales for us.
we can keep going from there.
Alrighty.
That's one. And there's some other really cool ones, like the harmonic minor.
Ooh.
And we can change another one note at a time. We can change things to get a different flavor or color. Yeah. So that one was called Neveser. That was harmonic minor with Neveser.
What's Neveser?
Neveser is we change one note of the harmonic minor. 1, 2, 3, the sharp 4.
All right, let's check out the harmonic minor. So first we gotta see what the minor scale looks like. So this was our C major right here. This is a C minor scale. A minor scale is a major scale starting on the 6th note, and it gets a different tonal tendency. A harmonic minor scale is the minor scale with one altered note. So let's check this out. We're going to see some examples of harmonic minor in pop music.
Minor scale. The harmonic minor is almost identical to the natural minor. It's only one note different. This note, the leading note of the harmonic minor, is raised. It's only one semitone away.
So the 7th note of the scale, instead of being flat like in that first version of that major scale, in the minor scale is sharped
From the octave. So, for example, in G natural minor, the 7th note, the leading note, is F natural. But in G harmonic minor, the leading note is F sharp. It's been raised. And although this may seem like only a small adjustment, it makes a big difference to how the scale sounds. For example, because the 7th note has been raised, it's made this interval here between the 6th and 7th note unusually wide. It's an interval of a minor third, 3 semitones, which is unusually big for a Western scale. This gives the upper half of the harmonic minor scale an exotic Arabic-like sound. Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish uses the G harmonic minor scale. You can see here that rather than an F natural, we have an F sharp.
What do you want from me? Why don't you run from me? What are you wondering? What do you know? Why aren't you scared of me? Why do you care for me? When we all fall asleep, where do we go?
Alright, there's a couple other examples in here. One thing I want to point out is look at this. We got a 12/8. So there's 12/8 notes in every bar. Cool, huh? Okay, we're going to check out. He gets into some detail about chords, which we will get into, but at the moment we are not looking at. Let's see some other songs that use the harmonic minor scale.
Many other pop songs use the harmonic minor in a similar way to Bury a Friend.
I think I did it again. I made you believe we're more than just friends. Havana, ooh, na, na. Half of my heart is in Havana, ooh, na, na.
I travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them. Me and my head high and my tears dry. Get on without my guy.
Bury a Friend isn't even the only song that Billie Eilish uses the harmonic minor in. She actually uses the exact same chord progression in her song Bad Guy.
White shirt, now red, my bloody nose sleeping. You're on your tippy toes, creeping around like no one knows. Think you're so criminal. Bruises on both my knees for you.
Alright, so that scale is found everywhere. Let's go back to Costa. He's got a couple other scales he wants to share with us.
So I think a lot of guitar players call it the Hungarian minor. I call it the Greek minor, but the same thing.
That's awesome.
Another really great one that maybe you have the sound in your head, you've already heard it somewhere, is what we call Hijaz. And Hijaz is one of my favorite scales. And it sounds like this. Very similar to the other one, but this one's also major. It's considered major. Maybe you've heard it from.
There you go.
Alright, Hajaz. That scale has a couple different sharps and flats found in it. We have Hajaz scale starting in C. So we got 3 flats. That last scale that Costa showed us was Hajaz scale. And the song he was playing is a surf song by Dick Dale, and this is Dick Dale playing Miserloo.
Mizzaloo! All right.
Alright, there's a little bit of that. So, by taking the sharps and flats we've learned and applying them to the scales we learned, we can change the mood and the tone of the scale, which in turn changes the moods and tones that we have to make music. So, by a little altercation of 1 or 2 notes, you get a whole different sound. That's why sharps and flats are important, and that's why the scales are important. The scales are the colors we get to use to paint our music, or the roads we take for our melody, if we use Costa's analogy. Alright, friends, we got one more lesson on Greek music. I'll see you tomorrow.